The one thing you can plan for in kindergarten is to plan for the unexpected or expect the unexpected. Some of these activities starting the second week of school. We start on a Wednesday, so we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so I plan on starting it that following Monday. But most importantly, what I'll need to do is gauge in my students based on what I'm seeing in the classroom. I need to really look for that feedback that I'm getting from them to see if they're ready for these activities or if I need to wait. So you'll want to do the same thing as well. However, what I want to show you in these activities is how I will use them to teach routine and procedures. And in this unit, which you can find in my TPT store at The Way I Teach, you will find in that download, you will find tips, and it's also typed out the routine and procedures that I implemented or plan on implementing with each activity. However, that being said, the one thing you can plan for in kindergarten is to plan for the unexpected or expect the unexpected. So again, I'm going to show you these activities and I'm going to show you or tell you what I plan on or how I plan on teaching routine and procedures with each one. Again, that can change dependent on my students and what they're needing once I get back in the classroom. We never know in kindergarten what we're going to get. So let me show you. These activities are going to look a little bit familiar to you, but again, my goal is to show you how I'm going to use these to teach routine and procedures while some learning is taking place. So the first thing is I created just these simple sheets. You can see that they're simple sight words, simple sentences, and I made these so that way I can just pull them out and show or model to the students how to track and how to trace, because in kindergarten you have to explicitly teach how to trace. They do not know what tracing is, so you have to explicitly teach it. After I model tracking, I'll call on students to come up and model tracking as well. And depending on the feedback that I get from my students in my class, I will do one of three things. We will either circle up on the carpet and we will track and trace the pictures with our fingers, or I will put this under a document camera and we will do it together while they are at their seats, or I will send them to their seats on their own and we will do the first one together, and then I will have them complete the rest of the sheet on their own. And with that, the routine and procedures of how do we go to our seat, how do we pass out papers, what do we do when we're finished, where does our paper go when we're finished, what level of voice do we have at our seats. I mean, there are so many routine and procedures that have to be taught. So this is one of those things. I'm teaching tracking, I'm teaching sight words, I'm teaching tracing. They're working on fine motor while I'm being able to implement some of those routine and procedures. There are 3 sets in this unit. Day 1, week 2, day 1, week 3. And so the second day I'll show you the activity and it will look a little bit familiar to you. And again, there are 3 sets of these. I'm showing you this one because this is the first one of the first set. And you know it's the first one because it has the simplest of sight words. It says I, C, A, and it follows the same format. I did that deliberately. Can you see that? I did that deliberately so that way they can learn the sight words and they can get used to tracking and it can build their confidence. And I will have them put this in their book box when they're done. Every sheet that requires a name has an editable piece that you can type in your students' names. And I did this because I learned the hard way my first year of teaching kindergarten. I didn't realize how many students come in not being able to spell their name. So here there are 3 of these for week 1, week 2, and week 3, and they can practice writing their name, and then again they will track and read their simple pre-primer sight words, and then they will read the word with the picture, and then after they read it they will go up there and trace the picture. And I would prep these before I gave them out. I would not give these for the students to cut on the second week of school. They are going to need lots and lots of practice cutting before they can cut something that is this detailed or this straight. And now if you're doing it on week 6 of school, then maybe you can give it, I would give that to them. But here again, that routine and procedure is tracing, tracking, where do I put my finished work, what level of voice do I use, what do I do when I'm done. And again, in the download of this unit, I give simple tips that I use to teach those procedures. So the third activity is a flip book. The kids love flip books. So I know the activity, the style of the activity is not new, but I'm trying to teach them routine and procedures while they are learning. So here I want to show you again, this is the first book in the first set. We'll trace their sight words, then they will track, and then they will trace the picture, and then they can color. And here, the routine and procedure that I would teach, besides the tracking, the tracing, the coloring, I would teach them how to partner read with these. And then I would have them put these in their book box, so that way they can start building up their book boxes with books that they can actually read when they go to read to self or when they go to independent reading time. If I'm introducing these on the second week of school, and if I am able to, like I want to, I am going to cut as close to the edge as I can. I will give them this to them pre-cut, and I will give them the strip of pictures pre-cut, except for they will need to snip, snip, and snip between the pictures, so that way they're doing just a little bit of simple cutting, unless the feedback I get from them shows me that, hey, these kids know how to use scissors. I think they can do it on their own. So until we get some more scissor cutting practice, I'll keep it at a minimum. So the last activity is a center. And I love these centers. These centers, they are no loose pieces. So here you can see they're not going to fall apart. The students are not going to lose them. I'm not going to lose the piece. Here you can see if you want to put it in a drawer, it folds up so it will fit. And so here again, there's 3 sets, and I have them color coded. So there's the blue set, the first set, and then there's the green set, and then there's the red set. And here I'll just show you on the red set. The children on these with centers, there's a whole nother set of routine and procedures. I don't know about you, but I always play a song that tells the students to clean up, and then when that song is over, they are supposed to be in a certain spot. And that works magic. You don't have to talk, you just play the song and they know it means clean up and go to your spot. With this activity, I definitely would have went over how, or our expo expectations, what are our expo marker expectations, and usually I have the kids make the caps say thank you. They have to hear a click. If they hear that click, it says thank you. And prior to this, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I would have put the students' names inside a clear sleeve. I would have given them expo markers. I would have given them a tissue, and they would have done write and wipe while they were writing their names, and write and wipe while we were doing whatever letters we were working on, or anything that I can put in a clear plastic sleeve that shows them how to write and wipe, where we put our markers, where we put our tissues. Here, you're going to want to make sure that you have taught center expectations. You're going to want an anchor chart, and you're going to want to go over what it sounds like, what it looks like in the center, and you're going to want to have students model, where do we put this when we're done? So here again, this activity, it's read, trace, write, and it's the same format. They do the same thing, and except for on this activity, the last page is for those kindergartners who have had transitional K or who have had preschool, or whose parents have worked with them. They can write a pattern sentence, I see that, and then they can grab a word from another strip, I see that eraser, and then they can grab a piece of paper from your writing center or your writing basket. I choose not to copy paper or make special paper just for them to write this activity, because the less prep the better. I just want a generic place where they can pull paper for writing a simple sentence and drawing a picture if they want to, or when they're in that writing center. I look forward to back to school. I hope you have a great back to school, and I look forward to putting more blog posts up on routines and procedures. And I do have one great tip coming up. In the past, if you can hear my voice, I can't yell. If I yell, my voice cracks. And there's one thing I learned about several years ago that, oh, about 4 or 5 years ago, that I haven't really seen a lot of teachers do, but when I do it, and it's a kind of a sort of call and response, but not like the typical call and response. And I tell you, every single time I do it in the classroom, and we do it all day, all year long for getting the students' attentions every single time. So thank you and have a great back to school.